and welcome to this second First Look exploring session looking at Wily Beguiled, a pleasant comedy. I think it might also possibly be Wily Beguiled, which I kind of prefer, but, you know, Wily Beguiled seems to be the more authoritative title. In a technically fraught first session, we got through half of the play and got a sense of its energy and its life, and it's a fun, dancey play, doing all sorts of fun, dancey things. And we're going to try and get through to the second half of the play and find out what's going to go on in this. Yeah, we're going to find out with these wonderful people. So reading Fortunatus today is...
Hello, it's Tom from Brighton.
Reading Sophos, Plod-all and Gripe is...
Lynsey Beauchamp, actor in Kirkcaldy, Scotland.
Reading Nurse, Clerk and Peg is...
Thorley from Stonehaven in Scotland.
And reading the songs, Will, Churms and sometime at least Robin is...
Liza Graham in London, doing things.
And I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I will be reading various parts as well as stage directions, which may shift as I may move some things around as we go along. So it's all a little complicated and confusing, but hopefully it will all be fine. Yes, it will. In fact, I'm just looking ahead and I'm immediately giving a part I was about to read to somebody else, because I think I can. Yes. Surely, could I ask you to read Sylvanus coming up in the first scene that we're going to do today? So we're doing scene 12. We're in a wood. Enter the one of the love interests, Sophos Solus.
Will heavens still smile at Sophos' miseries and give no end to my incessant moans? These cypress shades are witness of my woes. The senseless trees do grieve at my laments. The leafy branches drop sweet mirrors' tears. For love did scorn me in my mother's womb, and sullen Saturn, pregnant at my birth, with all the fatal stars conspired in one to frame a hapless constellation, presaging Sophos' luckless destiny. Here doth Sophos turn Ixion's restless wheel, and here lies wrapped in labyrinths of love, of his sweet Lelia's love, whose sole idea still prolongs the hapless date of Sophos' hopeless life. Ah, said I life, a life far worse than death. Than death, aye, than 10,000 deaths. I daily die in that I live love's thrall. They die thrice happy that once die for all. Here will I stay my weary wandering steps and lay me down upon this solid earth.
He lies down.
The mother of despair and baleful thoughts, aye, this befits my melancholy moods. Now, methinks I hear the pretty birds with warbling tunes record fair Lelia's name, whose absence makes warm blood drop from my heart and forceth watery tears from these my weeping eyes. Methinks I hear the silver-sounding stream with gentle murmur summon me to sleep, singing a sweet, melodious lullaby. Here will I take a nap and drown my hapless hopes in the ocean seas of never like to speed.
He falls in a slumber, and music sounds. Enter Sylvanus.
Thus hath Sylvanus left his leafy bowers, drawn by the sound of echoes' sad reports, that with shrill notes and high resounding voice doth pierce the very caverns of the earth, and rings through hills and dales the sad laments of virtue's loss and Sophos' mournful plaints. Now, Morpheus, rouse thee from thy sable den, charm all his senses with a slumbering trance, whilst old Sylvanus sends a lovely train of satyrs, dryads, and water nymphs out of their bowers to tune their silver strings, and with sweet-sounding music sing some pleasing madrigals and roundelays to comfort Sophos in his deep distress.
Exit Sylvanus. Enter the nymphs and satyrs, singing.
Satyrs sing, let sorrow keep her cell, let warbling echoes ring and sounding music yell, through hills, through dales, sad grief and care to kill, in him long since, alas, hath grieved his fill. Sleep no more, but wake and live content. Thy grief the nymphs deplore, the sylvan gods lament, to hear, to see thy moan, thy loss, thy love. Thy plaints to tears the flinty rocks do move. Grieve not then, the queen of love is mild, she sweetly smiles on men when reason's most beguiled. Her looks, her smiles are kind, are sweet, are fair. Awake therefore, and sleep not still in care. Love intends to free thee from annoy. His nymph Sylvanus sends to bid thee live in joy, in hope, in joy, sweet love, delights, embrace. Fair love herself will yield thee so much grace.
Exeunt the nymphs and satyrs.
What do I hear? What harmony is this, with silver sound that glutteth Sophos' ears, and drives sad passions from his heavy heart, presaging some good future hap shall fall after these blustering blasts of discontent? Thanks, gentle nymphs and satyrs too, adieu, that thus compassionate a loyal lover's woe, when heaven sits smiling at his dire mishaps.
Enter Fortunatus.
With weary steps I trace these desert groves, and search to find out Sophos' secret walks, my truest vowed friend and Leela's dearest love.
What voice is this that sound Lelia's sacred name?
He writeth.
Is it some satyr that hath viewed her late, and grown enamoured of her gorgeous hue?
No satyr, Sophos, but thy ancient friend, whose dearest blood doth rest at thy command. Hath sorrow lately blearied thy watery eyes, that thou forgettest the lasting league of love? Long since was vowed betwixt thyself and me. Look on me, man, I am thy friend.
Oh, now I know thee, now thou namest my friend. I have no friend to whom I dare unload the burden of my grief, but only Fortunatus. He's my second self. Mi fortunate ter fortunate venis.
How fares my friend? Methinks you look not well. Your eyes are sunk, your cheeks look pale and wan. What means this alteration?
My mind, sweet friend, is like a mastless ship that's hurled and tossed upon the surging seas by Boreas' bitter blast and Aeolus' whistling winds, on rocks and sands far from the wished port, whereon my silly ship desires to land. Fair Lelia's love, that is the wished haven, wherein my wandering mind would take repose, for want of which my restless thoughts are tossed, for want of which all Sophos' joys are lost.
Doth Sophos love my sister Lelia?
She it is whose love I wish to gain, nor need I wish, nor do I love in vain. My love she doth repay with equal meed. 'Tis strange, you'll say, that Sophos should not speed.
Your love repaid with equal meed, and yet you languish still in love. 'Tis strange, from whence proceeds your grief. Unfold unto your friend, a friend may yield relief.
My want of wealth is author of my grief. Your father says my state is too low. I am no hobby bred. I may not soar so high as Lelia's love. The lofty eagle will not catch at flies. When I with Icarus would soar against the sun, he is the only fiery phaeton, denies my course and sears my waxen wings. When as I soar aloft, he mews fair Lelia up from Sophos' sight, that not so much as paper pleads remorse. Thrice 3 times Sol hath slept in Thetis' lap, since these mine eyes beheld sweet Lelia's face. What greater grief, what other hell than this, to be denied to come where my beloved is?
Do you alone love Lelia? Have you no rivals with you in your love?
Yes, only one, and him your father backs. 'Tis Peter Plod-all, rich Plod-all's son and heir, one whose base rustic rude desert, unworthy far to win so fair a prize, yet means your father for to make a match for golden lucre with this Corydon, and scorns at virtue's law. Hence grows my grief.
If it be true I hear, there is one Churms beside makes suit to win my sister to his bride.
That cannot be. Churms is my vowed friend, whose tongue relates the tenor of my love to Lilia's ears. I have no other means.
Well, trust him not. The tiger hides his claws, when oft he doth pretend the greatest guiles. But stay, here comes Lelia's nurse.
Enter nurse.
Nurse, what news? How fares my love?
How fares she, quotha? Marry, she may fare how she will for you. Neither come to her nor send to her of a whole fortnight. Now I swear to you by my maidenhead, if my husband should have served me so when he came a wooing me, I would never have looked on him with a good face as long as I had lived. But he was as kind a wretch as ever laid lips on a woman. He would have come through the windows or doors or walls or anything, but he would have come to me. Marry, after we had been married a while, his kindness began to slack, for I'll tell you what he did. He made me believe he would go to Green Goose Fair, and I'll be sworn he took his legs and ran clean away. And I am afraid you'll prove e'en such another kind piece to my mistress, for she sits at home in a corner weeping for you, and I'll be sworn she's ready to die upward for you. And her father at the other side yawls at her and jawls at her, and she leads such a life for you it passes, and you'll neither come to her nor send to her. Why, she thinks you have forgotten her.
Nay, then let heavens in sorrow end my days, and fatal fortune never cease to frown, and heaven and earth and all conspire to pull me down, if black oblivion seize upon my heart once to estrange my thoughts from Lelia's love.
Why, nurse, I am sure that Lelia hears from Sophos once a day at least by Churms, the lawyer, who is his only friend.
What, young master? God bless mine eyesight. Now, by my maidenhead, you're welcome home. I am sure my mistress will be glad to see you. But what said you of Master Churms?
Marry, I say he's a well-wisher to my sister Lelia, and a secret friend of Sophos.
Marry, the devil he is. Trust him and hang him. Why, he cannot speak a good word on him to my old master, and he does so ruffle before my mistress with his barbarian eloquence, and strut before her in a pair of Polonian legs, as if he were a gentleman usher to the great Turk or the devil of Dowgate. And if my mistress be ruled by him, Sophos will might go snick up. But he has such a buttermilk face that she'll never have him.
Can falsehood lurk in those enticing looks, and deep dissemblance lie where truth appears?
Injurious villain to betray his friend.
Sir, do you know the gentleman?
Faith, well, not well.
Why, sir, he looks like a red herring on a nobleman's table on Easter Day, and he speaks nothing but almond butter and sugar candy.
That's excellent.
This world's the chaos of confusion, no world at all but a mass of open wrongs, wherein a man, as in a map, may see the high road way from woe to misery.
Content yourself, and leave these passions. Now do I sound the depth of all their drifts, the devil's device and Churms his knavery. On whom his heart hath vowed to be revenged, I'll scatter them. The plot's already in my head. Nurse, hie thee home. Commend me to my sister. Bid her this night send for Master Churms. To him she must recount her many griefs, exclaim against her father's hard constraint, and so cunningly temporize with this cunning castor, that he may think she loves him as her life. Bid her tell him that, if by any means he can convey her forth her father's gate, unto a secret friend of hers, the way to whom lies in the forest side, that none but he shall have her to his bride. For her departure let her appoint the time, tomorrow night, when vesper begins to shine. Here will I be with Lelia's comes this way, accompanied with her gentleman usher, whose amorous thoughts do dream on naught but love. And if this Bastinor hold, I'll make him leave his wench with Sophos for a pawn. Let me alone to use him in this his kind. This is a trap which for him I have laid. Thus craft by cunning once shall be betrayed. And for the devil I will conjure him. Good nurse, be gone, bid her not fail, and for a token bear her to her this ring, which well she knows. For when I saw her last, it was her favour, and she gave it to me.
And bear her this from me, and with this ring bid her receive my heart. My heart, alas, my heart I cannot give. How should I give her that which is her own?
And your heart be hers, her heart is yours, and so change is no robbery. Well, I'll give her your tokens and tell her what you say.
Do, good nurse, but in thy case let not my father know. Excuse me. Do, good nurse, but in my case let not my father know that I am here until the effect have affected all our purposes.
I'll warrant you I will not play with you as Master Churms does with Sophos. I would have my ears cut from my head first.
And exit nurse.
Come, Sophos, cheer yourself up, man. Let hope expel these melancholy dumps. Meanwhile, let's in expecting how the events of this device will fall. Until tomorrow at the appointed time, when we'll expect the coming of your love. What, man, I'll work it through the fire, but you shall have her.
And I will study to deserve this love.
And they exit. So this scene gives us, as we sort of tune back into the play, all the things that we liked, but also some of the problems that we had with this text last time. In the sense that there's some really nice use of language. There's some nice character work going on. The nurse continues to be a delight, with some wonderful lines of dialogue. But there's an awful lot of people telling us what we already know. They tell each other things that the audience already knows at some length. Though we do also then we get songs, we get other things as well. So it's giving with one hand and it's slightly annoying me with another, and it's frustrating because there's so much good stuff here. The nurse is a delight. Your heart be hers, her heart is yours. Yeah, yada yada yada. Move on, get on with it. Get on with it. Thoughts on the room?
Well, we've got some backstory from the nurse, right? That her husband told her he was just going out to the fair, and he never came back.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll get him back at the end of the play. Do you think?
Would you
He
take
was
him
lovely
back?
before then.
Yeah. Went out for cigarettes, never came back. You know, it's tragic.
I don't know. Maybe Plod-all will turn out to be the husband in disguise.
Ah.
Ooh, that would be a twist. I like that.
Yeah. Other thoughts?
It's still sounding really Mozartian so far. I mean, I can really see an opera of this, complete with the telling the same great length what we already know.
Yeah, I mean, there's an element of some of it is necessary because everyone does need to sort of fill each other in, but you feel that there must be a way of doing that in a slightly neater way. And of course, Fortunatus now tells us at length the cunning plan of sorting out Churms and making everyone live happily ever after. So, we have got some setup that hopefully from the good side will turn into action that is moderately sustained. Tom?
But that's nicely put, because it is a very lyrical text. It swings and hangs very lyrically,
And there's something
and that's
very
part
nice.
That's part of it.
There's something nice about the way that Fortunatus and Sophos are, doing these extended bits of poetry, and then the nurse turns up and just, I'm going to talk in prose. Silly.
Yeah, it seems very clear that the author is really enmeshed in the theatrical culture of the period. Lots of borrowing and messing around with everything. And yes, in this particular scene, these interplay of prose and poetry is just lovely.
And if I'm not mistaken, there are some play titles snuck in as well, potentially here as well, which interest me as well. So that might be there might be a game going on under the surface of this text in a quite an explicit way. Anyway, we need to move on. Hold on to any thoughts that you may have for the end of the next scene. Scene 13, we're going to rejoin some of the other elements of the plot. Enter William Cricket Solus.
Look on me, and look at Master Churms, a good proper man. Marry, Master Churms has a better pair of legs indeed, but for a sweet face, a fine beard, a comely course, and a carousing codpiece. All England, if it can, show me such a man to win a wench by gis, to clip, to call, to kiss, as William Cricket is. Why, look you now, if I had been such a great, long, large, lob-cocked, loselled lurded as Master Churms is, I warrant you I never should have got peg as long as I had lived. For d'ye mark, a wench will never love a man that has all his substance in his legs. But, stay, here comes my landlord. I must go salute him.
Enter old Plod-all and his son Peter.
Come hither, Peter. When didst thou see Robin Goodfellow? He's the man must do the fact.
Faith, father, I see him not this 2 days, but I'll seek him out, or I know he'll do the deed, and she were 20 Lelias. For, father, he's a very cunning man. For give him but 10 groats, and he'll give me a powder that will make Lelia come to bed with me. And when I have her there, I'll use her well enough.
Really so? Marry, I will give him 40 shillings if he can do it.
Nay, he'll do more than that too, for he'll make himself like a devil, and fray the scholar that hankers about her out on's wits.
Marry, Jesus bless us, will he so? Marry, thou shalt have 40 shillings to give him, and thy mother shall bestow a hard cheese on him beside.
Oh, landlord, a pox on you this good morn.
How now, fool? What, dost curse me?
How now, fool? How now, caterpillar? It's a sign of death when such vermin creep hedges so early in the morning.
Sirrah, foul manners, do you know to whom you speak?
Indeed, Peter, I must confess I want some of your wooing manners, or else I might have turned my fair bush-tail to you instead of your father, and have given you the ill salutation this morning.
Let him alone, Peter. I'll temper him well enough. Sirrah, I hear you say you must be married shortly. I'll make you pay a sweet fine for your house for this. Sirrah, this clearly is Plod-all, isn't it? Yeah.
Am I not your landlord?
Yes, for fault of a better, but you get neither sweet fine nor sour fine of me.
My masters, I pray you bear witness, I do discharge him then.
Masters, I pray you bear witness, my landlord has given me a general discharge. I'll be married presently, my fine's paid, I have a discharge for it.
He offers to go away.
Nay, prithee stay.
No, I'll not stay. I'll go call the clerk. I'll be cried out upon in the church presently. What ho! What clerk, I say, where are you?
Enter Clerk.
Who calls me? What would you with me?
Ah, marry, sir, I would have you to make proclamation that if any man or man of the town or the country can lay any claim to peg puddin', let him bring word to the crier, or else William Cricket will wipe his nose of her.
You mean you would be asked to the church?
Aye, that's it. Bots on it, I cannot hit of these marrying terms yet. And I'll desire my landlord here and his son to be at the celebration of my marriage, too. I' faith, Peter, you shall cram your guts full of cheesecakes and custards there, and Sir Clark. If thou wilt say amen stoutly, I' faith, my powder beef slave, I'll have a rump of beef for thee shall make thy mouth stand on the t'other side.
When would you have it done?
Marrying as soon as maybe. Let me see. I will be asked in the church a Sunday morning prayer, and again at evening prayer, and the next holiday that comes I will be asked in the forenoon, and married in the afternoon. For d'ye mark, I am none of these sneaking fellows that will stand thrumming of caps and studying upon a matter as long as Hunks with the great head has been about to show his little wit in the second part of his paltry poetry. But if I begin with wooing, I'll end with wedding, and therefore, good clerk, let me have it done with all speed, for I promise you, I am very sharp set.
Faith, you may be asked to the church on Sunday at morning prayer, but Sir John cannot tend to do it at evening prayer, for there comes a company of players to the town on Sunday in the afternoon, and Sir John is so good a fellow that I know he'll scarce leave their company to say evening prayer, for though I say it, he's a very painful man, and takes so great delight in that faculty, that he'll take as great pain about building of a stage or so as the basest fellow among them.
Nay, if he have so lawful an excuse, I am content to defer it one day the longer, and landlord, I hope you and your son Peter will make bold with us and trouble us.
Nay, William, we would be loath to trouble you, but you shall have our company there.
Faith, you shall be very heartily welcome, and we will have good merry rogues there that will make you laugh till you burst.
Why, William, what company do you mean to have?
Marry, first and foremost, there will be an honest Dutch cobbler that will sing, I will no more to Bergen go, the best that you ever heard.
What must a cobbler be your chief guest? Why, he's a base fellow.
Base fellow? You may be ashamed to say so, for he's an honest fellow and a good fellow, and he begins to carry the badge of good fellowship upon his nose, that I do not doubt but in time he will prove as good a cup companion as Robin Goodfellow himself. Aye, and he's a tall fellow, and a man of his hands too, for I tell you what, tie him to the bull ring, and for a bag pudding, a custard, a cheesecake, a hog's cheek, or a calf head, turn any man in the town to him, and if he do not prove himself as tall a man as he, let blind Hugh bewitch him, and turn his body into a barrel of strong ale, and let his nose be the spigot, and his mouth be the faucet, and his tongue a plug for the bunghole. And then there will be Robin Goodfellow, as good a drunken rogue as lives, and Tom Shoemaker, and I hope you will not deny that he's an honest man, for he was constable of the town, and a number of other honest rascals, which though they are grown bankroats, and live at the reversion of other men's tables, yet thanks be to God they have a penny amongst them at all times at their need.
Nay, if Robin Goodfellow be there, you shall be sure to have our company, for he's one that we hear very well of. That's clearly Plod-all again.
For he's one that we hear very well of, and my son here has some occasion to use him, and therefore, if we may know when 'tis, we'll make bold to trouble you.
Yes, I'll send you word.
Why, then farewell, till we hear from you.
Exeunt Plod-all and his son.
Well, Clark, you'll see this matter bravely performed. Let it be done as it should be.
I'll warrant ye, fear it not.
Why, then go you to Sir John, and I'll to my wench, and bid her give her maidenhead warning to prepare itself, for the destruction of it is at hand.
Wow, there's an exit line, isn't there?
And a carousing codpiece.
Good grief. Okay, yeah. Thoughts in the room on this scene? I mean, it's again. I have noted a reiteration of a plot point from earlier is done at some length at the very top. Setting up for the wedding. Some comedy business between Will and the Clerk. This feels very much like give the clown room to do his stand-up routine. There seems to be a lot of that with a bit of back and forth business as well with the Clerk. I don't feel an impetus with this play to move forward at any time. It just likes doing little moments. Liza.
Well, this scene exists nicely in balance with the previous one. And in the previous one, we had someone who was unhappy in love talking about that at great length. And in this scene, we have someone who's happy in love talking about that at great length. And his landlord, if I'm right, his landlord just evicts him right there on the spot. And he's like, I don't care, I'm getting married. So I guess he's going to live at Peg's place, I think.
Well, I'm sure that's what he's hoping. Yeah, other thoughts? Tom, muted at the moment.
Yeah, Will has some fantastic lines. They just roll and roll and roll off the tongue, and very nicely performed, because you've got to keep on it. And I think Angela and Liza both keep on it beautifully. Yeah, they're fantastic rolling, swashbuckling lines.
Do we know who the clown was that it was written for?
No, we really don't know what the auspices for this text is at all. I think I will double check that in a moment, because but I'm fairly certain we don't really know who, why, which, what, or how by this one. But I will have a little look while we do the next scene and see if there's any data, because it would be useful to know. I mean, there's lots of contraindicatory things about this, about where it might be coming from. But I don't have any data that I see before me. Okay, let's move on then to scene 14. I'm going to ask Lynsey to be your own lover and read Lelia for this scene. You won't be for the whole of the play, but because you will meet yourself later on. But for this scene, take the opportunity to find out what the other sides are into. So scene 14, enter Lelia Sola.
How love and fortune, both with eager mood, like greedy hounds, do hunt my tired heart, roused forth the thickets of my wonted joys, and Cupid winds his shrill note bugle horn, for joy my silly heart so near is spent. Desire that eager cur pursues the chase, and fortune rides amain unto the fall. Now sorrow sings and mourning bears apart, playing harsh descant on my yielding heart.
Enter Nurse.
Nurse, what news?
Faith, a whole sack full of news. You love Sophos, and Sophos loves you, and Peter Plod-all loves you, and you love him not, and you love not Master Churms, and he loves you. And so here's love and no love, and I love and I love not, and I cannot tell what. But of all, Master Churms must be the man you must love.
Nay, first I'll mount me on the winged wind, and fly for succour to the furthest end. Must I love Master Churms?
Faith, you must, and you must not.
As how, I prithee?
Mary, I have commendations to you.
From whom?
From your brother Fortunatus.
My brother Fortunatus?
No, from Sophos.
From my love?
No, from neither.
From neither?
Yes, from both.
Prithee, leave thy foolery, and let me know thy news.
Your brother Fortunatus and your love tomorrow night will meet you by the forest side, there to confer about I know not what, but it is like that Sophos will make you of his privy council before you come again.
Is Fortunatus then returned from the wars?
He is with Sophos every day, but in any case you must not let your father know, for he hath sworn he will not be described until he have effected your desires, for he swaggers and swears out of all cry that he will venture all, Both fame and blood and limb and life, but Lelia shall be Sophos' wedded wife.
Alas, nurse, my father's jealous brain doth scarce allow me once a month to go beyond the compass of his watchful eyes, nor once afford me any conference with any man except with Master Churms, whose crafty brain beguiles my father so that he reposeth trust in none but him. And though he seeks for favour at my hands, he takes his mark amiss and shoots awry. For I had rather see the devil himself than Churms, the lawyer. Therefore, how should I meet them by the forest side? I cannot possibly devise.
And Master Churms must be the man must work the means. You must this night send for him, make him believe you love him mightily. Tell him you have a secret friend dwells far away beyond the forest, to whom, if he can secretly convey you from your father, tell him you will love him better than ever God loved him. And when you come to the place appointed, let them alone to discharge the knave of clubs, and that you must not fail, here receive this ring which Fortunatus sent you for a token, that this is the plot you must prosecute, and this from Sophos is his true love's pledge.
This ring my brother sent I know right well, but this my true love's pledge I more esteem than all the golden mines the solid earth contains. And see, in happy time, here comes Master Churms.
Enter Churms, boo hiss.
Now love and fortune both conspire and sort their drifts to compass my desire. Master Churms, ye are well met. I'm glad to see you.
And I as glad to see fair Lelia as ever Paris was to see his dear, for whom so many Trojans' blood was spilt. Nor think I would do less than spend my dearest blood to gain fair Lelia's love, although by loss of life.
Faith, mistress, he speaks like a gentleman. Let me persuade you, be not hard-hearted. Sophos, why, what's he? If he had loved you but half so well, he would have come through stone walls, but he would have come to you ere this.
I must confess I once loved Sophos well, but now I cannot love him, whom all the world knows to be a dissembler.
Ere I would wrong my love with one day's absence, I would pass the boiling Hellespont, as once Leander did for heroes' love, or undertake a greater task than that, ere I would be disloyal to my love. And if that Lelia give her free consent that both our loves may sympathize in one, my hand, my heart, my love, my life, and all shall ever tend on Lelia's fair command.
Master Churms, methinks 'tis strange you should make such a motion. Say I should yield and grant you love, when most you did expect a sunshine day. My father's will would mar your hoped-for hay, and when you thought to reap the fruits of love, his hard constraint would blast it in the bloom. For he so dotes on Peter Plod-all's pelf, that none but he forsooth must be the man, and I will rather match myself unto a groom of Pluto's grisly den than unto such a silly golden ass.
Bravely resolved, i'faith.
But to be short, I have a secret friend that dwells from hence some 2 days' journey, that's the most, and if you can, as well I know you may, convey me thither secretly. For company I desire no other but your own. Here, take my hand. That once performed, my heart is next.
If on the adventure all the dangers lay that Europe or the Western world affords, were it to combat Cerberus himself, or scale the brazen walls of Pluto's court, when as there is so fair a prize proposed, if I shrink back or leave it unperformed, let the world canonize me for a coward. Appoint the time, and leave the rest to me.
When night's black mantle overspreads the sky, and day's bright lamp is drenched in the west, tomorrow night I think the fittest time that silent shades may give us safe convoy unto our wished hopes, unseen of living eye.
And at that time I will not fail in that, or aught may make for our avail.
But what if Sophos should meet you by the forest side and encounter you with a single rapier?
Sophos, Sophos. A hop o' my thumb! A wretch! A wretch! Should Sophos meet us there, accompanied by some champion with whom 'twere any credit to encounter, were he as stout as Hercules himself, then would I buckle with them hand to hand, and bandy blows as thick as hailstones fall, and carry Lelia away, in spite of all their force. What? Love will make cowards fight, much more a man of my resolution.
And on your resolution I'll depend, until tomorrow at the appointed time, when I look for you, till when I leave you, and go make preparation for our journey.
Exeunt
Farewell,
Lelia and nurse.
Farewell, fair love, until we meet again. Why so? Did I not tell you she would be glad to run away with me at length? Why, this falls out e'en as a man would say, thus would I have it. But now I must go cast about for some money, too. Let me see. I've outlawed 3 or 4 of Gripe's debtors, and I have the bonds in mine own hands. The sum that is due to him is some 200 or 300 pounds. Well, I'll to them. If I can get but one half, I'll deliver them their bonds and leave the other half to their own good consciousness. And so shall I be sure to get money to bear charges. When all fails, well, fare a good wit. But soft, no more of that. Here comes Master Gripe.
Enter Gripe.
What, Master Churms, what, all alone? How fares your body?
Faith, sir, reasonable well. I am e'en walking here to take the fresh air.
'Tis very wholesome, this fair weather. But, Master Churms, how like you my daughter? Can you do any good on her? Will she be ruled yet? How stands she affected to Peter Plod-all?
Oh, very well, sir. I have made her very conformable. Oh, let me alone to persuade a woman. I hope you shall see her married within this week, at most. I mean, to myself.
Master Churms, I am so exceedingly beholden to you, I cannot tell how I shall requite your kindness. But in the meantime, here's a brace of angels for you to drink for your pains. This news hath enlightened my heart. Oh, sir, my neighbour Plod-all is very wealthy. Come, Master Churms, you shall go home with me. We'll have good cheer and be merry for this tonight, i' faith.
Well, let them laugh that win.
And they exit. Churms once again turning to the audience and going, "Mwahahaha," and am I not evil? Yes, we've been able to enjoy the setup of the plot, and Lelia does read interestingly similar to Sophos, actually. It's in the way that she's written and the way the nurse interacts there as well. So it was quite nice. I did quite like sometimes when you get comedy characters doing, asked questions and then sort of giving equivocal answers back, and you sort of go, but I liked the nurses, whom? Your brother? No, from neither, from the other, from both. And I did quite actually like that exchange. I thought that worked quite well. I also quite like the way that Churms keeps making really very bad classical references or inappropriate classical references, which we've had before. That is a joke we've had in other plays as well, of someone coming on and saying, my love is as like this one, and it's sort of going, yeah, you know, that one ended really, really badly, don't you? So yeah, good stuff.
To be fair, most of them end really badly.
What should be fair, there aren't that many happy love stories to derive from classical literature. But yeah, Churms gives it some welly there as well. As there's some really, this is his attempt. There's got to be something nicely absurd about the way he woos. I don't know what he looks like, but whether we had some clues in the first session that I missed. But you just get the impression that he'd just be that he's not a martial figure in any stretch of the imagination.
Well, he's a lawyer. Again, I don't know quite how old he is. Probably older than Sophos.
According to Will, he's tall and gangly.
A gallows bird in a gown.
So yeah,
but he has nice legs. Even Will admits that he has nice legs.
Well, got to have something to go on.
This is Churms victorious, right? This scene, he believes he's won.
Yes.
So
And
this is kind of the apex of his journey.
Yeah, and that's the enjoyment for the audience is knowing that no, your comeuppance is at hand. Underneath all of that, the ironies are nicely played. Okay, any more for any more? No. Okay, let's go to scene 15. Enter Peg and a Grenham Midnight.
Granam, give me but 2 crowns of red gold, and I'll give you 2 pence of white silver if Robin the Devil be not a water witch.
Marry, Jesus bless us, why, prithee?
Marry, I'll tell you why. Upon the morrow after the blessed New Year, I came trip, trip, trip over the market hill, holding out my petticoat to the calves of my legs to show my fine coloured stockings, and how finely I could foot in a pair of new cork shoes I had bought. And there I spied this Monsieur Muffler gaping up into the skies to know how many maids will be with child in the town all the year after. Oh, 'tis a base vexation slave, how the country talks the large-ribbed varlet.
Marry out upon him. What a Friday-faced slave it is! I think it in my conscience, his face never keeps holiday.
Why, his face can never be at quiet. He has such a choleric nose I had durst have sworn by my maidenhead, God forgive me that I should take such an oath, that if William had such a nose I would never have loved him.
Enter William Cricket.
What a talking is here of noses? Come, Peg, we are toward marriage. Let us talk of that may do us good. Granham, what will you give us towards housekeeping?
Why, William, we are talking of Robin Goodfellow. What think you of him?
Marry, I say, he looks like a tankard bearer that dwells in Petticoat Lane at the sign of the Mermaid. And I swear by the blood of my codpiece, an I were a woman, I would lug off his lave ears or run him to death with a spit. And for his face, I think 'tis pity there is not a law made that it should be felony to name it in any other places than bawdy houses. But, Grandam, what will you give us?
Marry, I will give Peg a pot and a pan, 2 platters, a dish and a spoon, a dog and a cat. I trow she'll prove a good housewife and love her husband well too.
If she love me, I'll love her. If faith, my sweet honeycomb, I'll love thee. Per se. We must be asked in church next Sunday, and we'll be married presently.
If faith, William, we'll have a merry day on't.
That we will, if faith, Peg. We'll have a whole noise of fiddlers there. Come, Peg, let's hie us home. We'll make a bag pudding to supper, and William shall go and sup with us.
Oh, come on, if faith.
And they exit. What I love about this household is they're just happy. They're just so jolly all the time. It's just, and there's very specific references in there. He looks like a tankard bearer that dwells in Petticoat Lane at the sign of the Mermaid. I think you had to be there. I mean, we can sort of get what it means, but I'm sure that, at the time, that brought the house down. It was very apposite, maybe. Liza.
I quite love the insult, a Friday face, because Friday was a fasting day when you could only eat fish and other you couldn't eat eggs or dairy or meat, and it's a face that never keeps holiday. It never gets to the day after Friday when you can have the nice stuff again. It's sort of a
always
lovely
winter
conceit.
and never Christmas.
Yes, just so.
And what's nice about this relationship, yes, Will comes in and says, "What will you give us?" And is steering into, what will we, for the marriage, what will we get? But he's quite content with a pot and a pan, 2 platters, a dish and a spoon, a dog and a cat.
I mean, what else do you really need?
Yeah, which is massively in contrast with Gripe and the expectation of marriage in that family, which is much more mercenary. And it's a really nice contrast. And I think that's one of the great things about this play. Liza.
If you teach the cat to play the fiddle, then the dish can run away with the spoon.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want the spoon to run away, would you?
No, if you only have the one spoon, you'd want to keep it.
Yeah. And you'd lose the cat.
I think they don't have a fiddle then.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we know what happens when you give cats fiddles. That leads to a whole witchcraft thing, and bad stuff goes down. As Thomas Middleton will write in The Witch, which has a fiddle playing cat in it. Just for one of its great selling points, in my opinion. Yeah, I wasn't quite sure what Peg was talking about with the whole thing to do with the tripping over the market hill, fine cudlets, and Monsieur Muffler gaping up into the skies. What was the? Because I got the impression I wasn't quite sure what was going on there in explicit, absolute detail.
Okay, I mean, my thought is he was looking at the sky so that he could tell by the stars how many maids would be with child, but there's also kind of a bawdiness because she's tripping along with her skirt pulled up and she sees this dude lying on the ground and you know, is there some upskirt happening there? Who knows? Did she trip over him?
That's what I was thinking, because spied this Monsieur Muff like gaping up. There's a juxtaposition of words there that made me think that.
I mean, a water witch, am I right that a water witch is someone who divines for water and tells you where to dig the well?
I don't know.
They have like a divining rod and it tells you where the water is?
Might be generalised to just divining in general. So if Monsieur Muff is then looking up into the clouds and the movement of the clouds.
Is Monsieur Muff a character who appears earlier in the play, or is this just the one and only time he gets a mention?
I think it's a name they're calling Robin Goodfellow. Do you think?
Okay.
Yes. No, they're referring to, but I don't know why they're calling him Monsieur Muff. Except that they're talking about looking
hairy,
up skirts.
Maybe
at
he
the
has
time,
a beard.
So I'm just wondering if it's just a deliberate sort of juxtaposition of things there that they're being playful. I don't know. I might just be being filthy. Could just be that. Okay, we will move on at that point. Scene 16. And Lynsey, you get to swap back again into your previous position. And enter Fortunatus and Sophos.
Why, how now, Sophos? All a mort, still languishing in love. Will not the presence of thy friend prevail, nor hope expel these sullen fits? Cannot mirth ring, if but in a forged smile, from those sad drooping looks of thine? Rely on hope, whose hap will lead thee right to her whom thou dost call thy heart's delight. Look cheerily, man, the time is near at hand, that Hymen, mounted on a sow white coach, shall tend on Sophos and his lovely bride.
'Tis impossible. Her father, man, her father. He's all for Peter Plod-all.
Should I but thee that Peter Plod-all offer love, this sword should pierce his peasant's breast, and chase his soul from this accursed corpse by an unwonted way unto a grisly lake. But now the appointed time is near, that Churms should come with his supposed love. Then sit we down under these leafy shades, and wait the time to Leela's wished approach.
They sit down.
Aye, here I'll wait for Lelia's wished approach, more wished to me than is a calm at sea to shipwrecked souls when great god Neptune frowns. Though sad despair hath almost drowned my hopes, yet would I pass the burning vaults of Orc, as erst did Hercules to fetch his love, if I might meet my love upon the strand, and but enjoy her love 1 minute of an hour.
Enter Robin Goodfellow in his Christmas calfskin suit.
But stay, what man or devil or hellish fiend comes here transformed in this ugly uncouth shape?
O peace a while, you shall see good sport anon.
Now I'm clothed in this hellish shape. If I could meet with Sophos in these woods, oh, he would take me for the devil himself. I should have good laughing beside the 40 shillings Peter Plod-all has given me. And if I get no more, I'm sure of that. But soft, now I must try my cunning, for here he sits. The High Commander of the damned souls, great Dis, the Duke of Devils, and Prince of Limbo Lake, High Regent of Acheron, Styx, and Phlegethon, by strict command from Pluto, Hell's great monarch, and fair Proserpina, the Queen of Hell, by full consent of all the damned hags and all the fiends that keep the Stygian plains, hath sent me here from depth of underground to summon thee to appear at Pluto's court.
A man or devil, or whatsoever thou art, I'll try if blows will drive thee down to hell. Belike thou art the devil's praetor, the basest officer that lives in hell. For such thy words import thee for me to be. 'Tis pity you should come so far without a fee. And because I know money goes low with Sophos, I'll pay you for your fees.
He beats him.
Take that and that and
Ow.
that upon thee.
Ow! Oh, good sir, beseech you, I'll do anything.
Then down to hell, for sure thou art a devil.
Oh, hold your hands, I'm not a devil by my troth.
Zounds, dost thou cross me? I'll say thou art a devil.
Beats him again.
Ow, ow, ow. Oh, Lord, sir, save my life, and I'll say as you say, or anything else you'll have me do.
Then stand up and make a preachment of thy pedigree, and how at first thou learnest this devilish trade. Up, I say.
Beats him.
Oh, I will, sir. Although in some places...
Stands upon a stool.
I bear the title of a scurvy gentleman. By birth I am a boatwright's son of Hull. My father got me of a refused hag under the old ruins of Booby's barn, who as she lived, at length she likewise died, and for her good deeds went unto the devil. But hell not wont to harbour such a guest, her fellow fiends do daily make complaint unto grim Pluto and his lady queen of her unruly misbehaviour, entreating that a passport might be drawn for her to wander till the day of doom on earth again to vex the minds of men, and swore she was the fittest fiend in hell to drive men to desperation. This intent her passport straight was drawn, and in a whirlwind forth of hell she came. O'er hills she hurls and scours along the plains. The trees flew up by the roots, the earth did quake for fear. The houses tumble down. She plays that devil and all. At length, not finding anyone so fit to effect her devilish charge as I, she comes to me, as to her only child. And me her instrument on earth she made, and by her means I learnt that devilish trade.
Oh, monstrous villain!
But tell me, what's thy course of life, and how thou shiftest thy maintenance in the world?
Faith, sir, I am in manner a promoter, or more fitly termed a promoting knave. I creep into the presence of great men, and under colour of their friendships effect such wonders in the world that babes will curse me that are yet unborn. Of the best men I raise a common fame, and honest women rob of their good name. Thus daily tumbling in comes all my thrift. That I get best is got but by a shift. But the chief course of all my life is to set discord between man and wife.
Out upon thee, cannibal!
He beats him.
Ooh, ow,
Dost thou
ooh.
think thou shalt ever come to heaven?
I little hope for heaven or heavenly bliss, but if in hell doth any place remain of more esteem than is another room, I hope as guerdon for my just desert to have it for my detestable acts.
Were not thy tongue commends thy guilty soul, I could not think that on this living earth did breathe a villain more audacious. Go, get thee gone, and come not in my walk.
Beats him.
Ow.
For if thou dost, thou comest unto thy woe.
The devil himself was never conjured so.
Exit Robin.
Sure, he's no man, but an incarnate devil whose ugly shape bewrays his monstrous mind.
And if he be a devil, I'm sure he's gone. But Churms the lawyer will come here anon, and with him comes my sister Lelia. 'Tis he, I am sure, you look for.
Nay, she it is that I expect so long.
Then sit we down until we hear more news. But this but a prologue to our paltry ensues.
And they sit down. Enter Churms and Lelia.
But
Now,
we see where Churms and Lelia comes along. He walks as stately as a great baboon. Zounds, he looks as though his mother were a midwife.
Now, gentle Jove, great monarch of the world, grant good success unto my wandering hopes.
now, Phoebus' eye, silver eye, is drenched in western deep, and Luna begins to show her splendent rays, and all the harmless chiristers of woods do take repose, save only Philomel, whose heavy tunes do evermore record with mournful lays the losses of her love. Thus far, fair love, we pass in secret sort beyond the compass of thy father's bounds, whilst he on down soft bed securely sleeps, and not so much as dreams of our depart. The danger's past, now think on naught but love. I'll be thy dear, be thou my heart's delight.
Nay, first I'll send thy soul to coal black night.
Thou promised love, now seal it with a kiss.
Nay, soft sir, your mark is at the fairest. Forswear her love, and seal it with a kiss upon the burnished splendor of this blade, or it shall rip the entrails of thy peasant heart.
Nay, let me do it, that's my part.
You wrong me much to rob me of my love.
Avaunt, base braggart, Lilia's mine.
She lately promised love to me.
Peace, a night raven peace. I'll end this controversy. Come, Lelia, stand between them both, as equal judge to end this strife. Say which of these shall have thee to his wife. I can devise no better way than this. Now choose thy love, and greet him with a kiss.
Lelia. I'll read Lelia because it's a little confusing, isn't it? Yes. My choice is made, and here it is. She kisses Sophos.
See here the mirror of true constancy, whose steadfast love deserves a prince's worth.
Master Churms, are you not well? I must confess I would have chosen you, but that I ne'er beheld your legs till now. Trust me, I never looked so low before.
I know. You used to look aloft.
Yet not so high as your crown.
What if you had?
Faith, I would have spied but a calf's head.
Zounds, cozened of the wench, and scoffed at too. 'Tis intolerable. And shall I lose her thus? How it mads me that I brought not my sword and buckler with me.
What, are you in your sword and buckler terms? I'll put you out of your humour. There Lelia stands, you must buy that by me, and that to recompense your love's desires, and that as payment for your well-earned hire.
Ooh,
Go,
ouch.
get thee gone and boast of Lelia's love.
Oh, where'er I go, I'll leave her with my curse, and rail on you with speeches viled.
A crafty knave was never so beguiled. Now Sophos hopes that had her their lucky haps, and he enjoys the presence of his love. My vows performed, and I am full revenged upon this hell-bred race of cursed imps. Now rest naught but my father's free consent to knit the knots that time can ne'er untwist, and that, as this, I likewise will perform. No sooner shall Aurora's pearl dew o'erspread the mantled earth with silver drops, and Phoebus bless the orient with a blush, to chase back black night to her deformed cell. But I'll repair unto my father's house, and never cease with my enticing words, to work his will to knit this Gorgian knot. Till then, I'll leave you to your man's amorous chat. Dear friends, adieu. First sister, to farewell. Betake yourselves unto some secret place, until you hear from me how things fall out.
Exit Fortunatus.
We both do wish a fortunate good night.
And pray the gods to light thy steps aright.
Now come, fair Lelia, let's betake ourselves unto a little hermitage hereby, and there to live obscured from the world, till fates and fortune call us thence away, to see the sunshine of our nuptial day. See how the twinkling stars do hide their borrowed shine, as half ashamed their lustre is so stained by Lelia's beauteous eyes, that shine more bright than twinkling stars do in a winter's night. In such a night did Paris win his love.
And in such a night Aeneas proved unkind.
In such a night did Troilus court his dear.
In such a night fair Phyllis was betrayed.
I'll prove as true as ever Troilus was.
And I as constant as Penelope.
Then let us solace, and in love's delight and sweet embracings spend the livelong night. And whilst love mounts her on her wanton wings, let descant run on music's silver strings.
And yes, actually, I'm not going to pause there. Let's just have the song that we have coming up next. Liza, could you just read the song? I don't know whether it follows directly on from this or whether it goes into the next scene.
Okay. Old Triton must forsake his dear, the lark doth chant her cheerful lay. Aurora smiles with merry cheer to welcome in a happy day. The bees do skip, the sweet birds sing, the wood nymphs dance, the echoes ring. The hollow caves with joy resounds, and pleasure everywhere abounds. The graces linking hand in hand, in love have knit a glorious band.
So I say, I don't know whether that song is to close the previous scene or open the next scene. We'll discover that answer in a moment. But it seemed to fit nicely to close this scene because it's sort of quite sweet. I do love Sophos' line. Nay, let me do it. That's my part. Yeah, it's really nice. What's going on there? Under the old ruins of Booby's barn. Yeah, there's some lovely stuff. Yeah, Robin gets beaten. There's always some fun stuff coming out there. Churms. There's no exit line for. There's no exit for Churms explicitly referenced. So I don't know. Is it just he's just crawl away mid scene, or is he left?
I assume he leaves on his last line because the next line spoken after him is a couplet, and people tend to exit on couplets.
Yeah, it does look like that's the place, but nothing is explicitly referenced, so useful to know. Other thoughts before we move on? I mean, they're going to go off and live in the woods and be happy together, poor, because, that always goes well. Yeah, and pastoral fantasies. Other thoughts? No? Everyone's good? Okay, we'll go on to the next scene, scene 17-ish. Scene divisions do seem to vary. but that seems like a perfectly reasonable division to me. Enter Robin Woodfellow, who will not be Liza this time. I'll ask Surly to read Robin because Liza's already in the scene. So enter Robin Goodfellow, old Plod-all, and his son Peter.
Here you, Master Goodfellow, how have you sped?
Had you played the devil bravely and feared the scholar out on's wits?
A pox of a scholar.
Hey, hark you, I sent you 40 shillings, and you shall have the cheese I promised you too.
A plague of the 40 shillings and the cheese too.
Hear you? Will you give me the powder you told me of?
Ah, you vex me. Powder, quotha? Zounds, I have been powdered.
Son, I doubt he will prove a crafty knave and cozen us of our money. We'll go to Master Justice and complain on him and get him whipped out of the country for a coney catcher.
Aye, or have his ears nailed to the pillory. Come, let's go. Exeunt Plod-all and his son enter Churms.
Fellow Robin, what news? How goes the world?
Faith, the world goes, I cannot tell how. How sped you with your wench?
Oh, would the wench were the devil! Plague upon't! I never say my prayers, and that makes me have such ill luck.
I think the scholar be hunted with some demi-devil.
Why, didst thou fray him?
Fray him? A vengeance on't. All our shifting knaveries known, we are counted very vagrants. Sounds, I am afraid of every office of a whipping.
Oh, we are horribly haunted. Our behaviour is so beastly that we are grown loathsome. Our craft gets us naught but knocks.
What course should we take now?
Faith, I cannot tell. Let's see him run to our country, for here's no staying for us.
Faith agreed. Let's go into some place where we are not known, and there set up the art of knavery with the second edition.
And they
I like that
exit.
edition.
Yeah, it's almost actually, it feels like, in a sense, that is a sort of coda to the previous scene. Like, they may have exited, but they only crawled a few feet away. And Plod-all and Peter saunter by and go, "Hi, how's it going?" "It was bloody awful, mate." And Churms comes crawling on as well. And they're just going, this being evil lark's not working.
But in so many comedies that we've read, they wouldn't even have that scene. They would just be dismissed from the action as soon as they were foiled. So it's kind of nice that they get that, Prince John and Sir Hiss kind of moment to bond, and it gives the real ending. And they're just going to go and try it on someplace else. I do like the art of knavery with the second edition. It sort of implies they're going to write a book.
Yeah, take two. Okay, let's go on to scene 18 then. I'm not sure if there are any doubling issues that crop up, but we'll find out in a moment. Enter Gripe Solus.
Everyone tells me I look better than I was wont. My heart's lightened and my spirits are revived. Why, methinks I'm e'en young again. It joys my heart that this same peevish girl, my daughter, will be ruled at the last yet. But I shall never be able to make Master Churms amends for the great pains he hath taken.
Enter Nurse.
Master, now out upon's. Well old day, we are all undone.
Undone? What sudden accident hath chanced? Speak, what's the matter?
Alas, that ever I was born. My mistress and Master Churms are run away together.
'Tis not possible, ne'er tell me I dare trust Master Churms with a greater matter than that.
Faith, you must trust him, whether you will or no, for he's gone.
Enter Will Cricket.
Master Gripe, I was coming to desire that I might have your absence at my wedding, for I hear say you are very liberal grown a late, for I spake with 3 or 4 of your debtors this morning that ought you £100 apiece, and they told me that you sent Master Churms to them and took of some £10 and of some 20, and delivered them their bonds and bade them pay the rest when they were able.
I am undone, I am robbed, my daughter, my money. Which way are they gone?
Faith, sir, it's all to nothing, but your daughter and Master Churms are gone both one way. Marry, your money flies, some one way, some another. Therefore, 'tis but a folly to make you and cry after it.
Follow them, make you and cry after them. My daughter, my money, all's gone. What shall I do?
Faith, if you'll be ruled by me, I'll tell you what you shall do. Mark what I say, for I'll teach you the way to come to heaven, if you stumble not. Give all you have to the poor, but one single penny, and with that penny buy you a good strong halter, and when you have done so, come to me, and I'll tell you what you shall do with it.
Bring me my daughter, that Churms, that villain, I'll tear him with my teeth.
Master, nay, pray you, do not run mad. I'll tell you good news. My young master Fortunatus is come home, and see where he comes.
If thou hadst said Lelia, it had been something.
Thus Fortunatus greets his father, and craves his blessing on his bended knee.
Aye, here's my son, but Lelia shall not come. Good Fortunatus, rise. Wilt thou shed tears and help thy father moan? If so, say I. If not, good son, be gone.
What moves my father to these uncouth fits?
Faith, sir, he's almost mad. I think he cannot tell you, and therefore I, presuming, sir, that my wit is something better than his at this time, do you mark, sir? Out of the profound circumambulation of my supernatural wit, sir, do you understand? I will tell you the whole superfluity of the matter, sir. Your sister Layla, sir, you know, is a woman, as another woman is, sir.
Well, and what of that?
Nay, nothing, sir, but she fell in love with one Sophos, a very proper, wise young man, sir. Now, sir, your father would not let her have him, sir, but ye would have married her to one, sir, that would have fed her with nothing but barley bag puddings and fat bacon. Now, sir, to tell you the truth, the fool, you know, has fortune to land, but Mistress Lelia's mouth doth not hang for that kind of diet.
And how then?
Marry then, there was a certain cracking, coggin, pettifogging buttermilk slave, sir, one Churms, sir, that is the very quintessence of all the knaves in the bunch. And if the best man of all his kin had been but so good as a yeoman's son, he should have been a marked knave by letters patents. And he, sir, comes me sneaking and cousins them both of their wench and is run away with her. And sir, belike he has cousined your father here of a great deal of his money too.
So your father did trust him but too much, but I always thought he would prove a crafty knave.
My trusts betrayed, my joys exiled, grief kills the heart, my hopes beguiled.
Where golden gain doth blare a father's eyes, that precious pearl, fetched from Parnus' mount, 'tis counted refuge, who than bullion brass, both joys and hopes hang on a silly twine, that still is subject unto thy flitting time, that turns joy into grief and hope to sad despair, and ends his days in wretched worldly care. Were I the richest monarch under heaven, and had one daughter thrice as fair as the Grecian Melanus' wife, ere I would match her to an untaught swain, though one whose wealth exceeded Crocus' store, herself should choose, and I applaud her choice, of one more poor than even Sophos was, were his deserts but equal unto his, if I may speak without offence, you were to blame to hinder Lelia's choice, and she is in nature's grace doth excel, so doth Minerva grace him full well.
Now, by cock and pie, you never spake a truer word in your life. He's a very kind gentleman, for last time he was at our house he gave me 3 pence.
Oh, Nobly spoken. God send Peg to prove as wise a woman as her mother, and then shall we be sure to have wise children. Nay, if he be so liberal, old grandsire, you shall give him the good will of your daughter.
She is not mine. I have no daughter now, that I should say I had. Thence comes my grief. My care of Lelia past a father's love. My love of Lelia makes my loss the more. My loss of Lelia drowns my heart in woe. My heart's woe makes this life a living death. Care, love, loss, heart's woe, living death, join all in one to stop this vital breath. Cursed be the time I gaped for golden gain. I curse the time I crossed her in her choice. Her choice was virtuous, but my will was base. I sought to grace her from the Indian mines, but she sought honour from the starry mount. What frantic fit possessed my foolish brain? What furious fancy fired so my heart? To hate fair virtue and to scorn desert.
Then, Father, give deserts his due. Let nature's graces and fair virtue's gifts one symphony and happy consort make. Twixt Sophos and my sister Lelia's love, conjoin their hands, whose hearts have long been one, and so conclude a happy union.
No, now 'tis too late. What fate's decree can never be recalled. Her luckless love is fallen to Churms, his lot, and he usurps fair Lelia's nuptial bed.
That cannot be. Fear of pursuit must needs prolong his nuptial rites. But if you give your wilful consent, then Sophos may enjoy his long-wished love, and have fair Lelia to his lovely bride. I'll follow Churms, whatever betide. I'll be as swift as the light-footed roe, and overtake him ere his journey end, and bring fair Lelia back unto my friend.
Aye, here's my hand, I do consent, and think her happy in her happy choice. Yet half forejudge my hopes will be deceived. But, Fortunatus, I must needs commend thy constant mind thou bear'st unto thy friend. The after ages, wondering at the same, shall say, 'tis a deed deserveth lasting fame.
Then rest you here till I return again. I'll go to Sophos ere I go along, and bring him here to keep you company. Perhaps he hath some skill in hidden arts, of planets, courses, or secret magic spells, to know where Lelia and that fox lies hid, whose craft so cunningly conveyed her hence.
Exit Fortunatus.
I here I'll rest an hour or twain till Fortunatus do return again.
Faith, sir, this same Churms is a very scurvy lawyer, for once I put a case to him, and methinks his law was not worth a puddin'.
Why, what was your case?
Marry, sir, my case was a goose's case, for my dog wearied my neighbour's sow, and the sow died.
Sued you upon wilful murder?
No, but he went to law with me, and would make me either pay for his sow or hang my dog. Now, sir, to the same Churms I went.
To beg a pardon for your dog?
No, but to have some of his wit for my money. I gave him his fee, and promised him a goose beside for his counsel. Now, sir, his counsel was to deny all that was asked me, and to crave a longer time to answer, though I knew the case was plain. So, sir, I take his counsel, and always when he sends to me for his goose, I deny it, and crave a longer time to answer.
And so the case was yours, and the goose was his, and so it came to be a goose's case.
True. But now we are talking of geese, see where Peg and my grandam Midnight comes.
Enter Mother Midnight and Peg. Come, Peg, bestir your stumps, make yourself smug, wench. Thou must be married tomorrow. Let's go seek out thy sweetheart to prepare all things in readiness.
Why, Granham, look where he is.
Ah, my sweet Tra-Lily, I thought thou couldst spy me amongst 100 honest men. A man may see that love will creep where it cannot go. Ah, my sweet and too sweet, shall I say the t'other sweet?
Ay, say it and spare not.
Oh, nay, I will not say it, I will sing it. Thou art mine own sweetheart, from thee I'll ne'er depart. Thou art my kipper lily, and I thy tranky down dilly, and sing hey ding a ding ding, and do the t'other thing. And when 'tis done, not miss to give my wench a kiss, and then dance. Canst thou not hit it? Ho, brave William Cricket! How like you this, grandam?
Marry gosh, benison light and thy good art for it. They were a young girl again, aye, faith. I was an old dur at these love songs when I was a girl.
Now, by the Mary Matins, Peg, thou hast got the merriest wooer in all Womanshire. Faith, I am none of those, one of those that love nothing but tub, tub, diddle. If he had not been a merry shaver, I would never have had him.
But come, my nimble lass, let all these matters pass, and in a bouncing bravation, let's talk of our copulation. What good cheer shall we have tomorrow? Old grandsire Thickskin, you that sit there as melancholy as a mantle tree, what will you give us towards this merry meeting?
Marry, because you told me a merry goose case, I'll bestow a fat goose on you, and God give you good luck.
Marry,
well said, old master. God give them joy indeed, for by my faith they're a very good, sweet young couple.
Oh, grandam, stand out the way, for here come gentlefolk will run o'er you else.
Master, here comes your son again.
Is Fortunatus there? Welcome, Fortunatus. Where's Sophos?
Here Sophos is, as much o'erworn with love as you with grief for loss of Lilia.
And 10 times more, if it be possible, the love of Lilia is to me more dear than is a kingdom or the richest crown that e'er adorned the temples of a king. Thou welcome, Sophos, thrice more welcome now than any man on earth to me or mine. It is not now with me as late it was. I lowered at learning and at virtue spurned, but now my heart and mind and all is turned. Were Lilia here, I soon would knit the knot twixt her and thee, that time could ne'er untie, till fatal sisters victory had won, and that your glass of life were quite outrun.
Soons I think he be spurblind, while Lilia stands hard by him.
And Lilia here falls prostrate on her knee and craves a pardon for her late offence.
What, Lilia, my daughter, stand up, wench. Why now my joy is full, my heart is lightened of all sad annoy. Now farewell, grief, and welcome home, my joy. Here, Sophos, take thy Lilia's hand. Great God of heaven, your hearts combine in virtue's law to raise a happy line. Now Phaeton hath checked his fiery steeds and quenched his burning beams that late were wont to melt my waxen wings when as I soared aloft, and lovely Venus smiles with fair aspect upon the springtime of our sacred love. Thou great commander of the circled orbs, grant that this league of lasting amity may lie recorded by eternity.
Then wished content knit up our nuptial night right, and future joys our former griefs requite.
Nay, and you be good at that, I'll tell you what we'll do. Peg and I must be married tomorrow, and if you will, we'll go all to the church together, and so save Sir John a labour.
Agreed.
Then march along and let's be gone to solemnize 2 marriages in one.
And exit all. There's a lot of money-saving tips in this play. I think, if you can't afford a wedding, double team it with somebody else's. That's a lovely thing. Will and Peg and that family unit continue to be a delight. The A plot is tied up and sorted out in a slightly overlong way. I felt there's an awful lot of people keep coming on and telling us things that we already know in a slightly different way. And though some of it's very entertaining, it does keep happening in this play all the way through, to the point where I'm going, there are limits. There are limits to how many times I can hear people tell me what I already know. Even though a lot of that's Will, and Will is very fun. I do like Will. But yeah. I quite like the fact that this is just relatively ordinary folk trying to, the highest we get are really sort of middling folk. We don't have anyone who is excessively wealthy and higher up the social strata. So everybody, there is a pecking order to this the people in this story, but they don't go that high up the food chain, and I quite like that and it's all very merry in the end. That makes me happy. I like happiness.
I was just about to say, Rob, that you're a sophisticated cynic. This is a lovely little play for the provinces, and a joyous little thing to behold.
Yeah, silly.
I don't think it's a play for the provinces at all. I think it's a play for the educated theatre goer, because he'll see so many more plays in it.
Mm. That is true. But then, to be fair, even if you don't see the plays in it, the play still functions.
It is fun.
It's not elitist in the sense of you can't unpack what's going on without that knowledge. But yeah, there are lots of Easter eggs, shall we say, in this text. I say potentially just a lot of play titles are hidden in here, 2 of which we've done recently. And I'm sure there are more, so I'm quite curious about some of that, as well as lots of quotes and little tropes that are just dancing around. Other thoughts before I go to final thoughts around the room about this closing primarily, but play overall. Liza.
Well, yeah, like you were saying, there's no nobility and no royalty in this play. It's all just like some people in it might be entitled to call themselves gentlemen, but no, the order of the social order in this play isn't a class order. It's a capitalist order, with Gripe with the most money, Gripe and Plod-all with the most money, and everyone else kind of in a descending order from them. But Will and Peg seem to have next to nothing and still be really happy, which is kind of good. And the ending is kind of an eat the rich ending, which is also nice and would play very well nowadays, as well as it probably did then. I know what you mean, Rob, that there are some longers, but I like this play for its cheerfulness.
No. I'm just thinking that this is a play that needs a trim. There needs to be a serious go over to limit the number of times we are delivered certain pieces of information again and again and again, because it's like each individual scene I'm enjoying, but I'm not enjoying the whole. It's a sort of ongoing problem. And also, not a lot happens for a lot of the play. There's an awful lot of treading water, delightful though it is. Lynsey.
Yes, this is sort of kind of my final thought, I guess. But and obviously, this is the only session on this play I've done. But it reminds me slightly of a pantomime where everybody already knows the story. Everybody already knows the tropes, and so all the fun of it is in the performance and in the clowns and in the sort of moon-faced lovers, and the tricking of the greedy lawyer, and the overcoming of the greedy father, and all of those kind of really, really standard characters and tropes that appear in these kinds of comedies. And so I don't know if that, and if it were taken at pace and constantly played for laughs, whether that would slightly take the curse off the repetition, like if you made a virtue of it, as it were, in the way that they do with pantomime. Might be interesting to look at it that way too.
Left him speechless.
Yes, I'll just say what I said again. Yes, so yes, we're into final thoughts. Then, Tom, any final thoughts?
Just seconding Lynsey. I mean, everybody knows the tropes, but it's a happy play and brings a smile to the face and would be a pleasant interlude. And as I say, Will's performance is worth the staging, I think.
Oh yes, he's got some corkers. Yeah, lots of sing hey ding a ding, and do the other thing. Yeah, he knows his onions. Surly, any final thoughts?
Encountered this play at all before today, but I adore it. It's clearly so very well done for all the repetition. There's a lot of skill gone into the writing here.
Yeah, I think we've liked everyone, even the evil people. I've quite liked.
There's so much of a contrast between them, and they're interwoven so well.
And Liza, any final thoughts?
Well, just that, I mean, yeah, this play is very, it's charming and engaging enough to make up for the flaws, I think. And I think the flaws are, first of all, people keep telling you what they're going to do, which takes a bit of the wind out of the plot's sails. And secondly, when, I don't know if the speeches are particularly well structured. That's the longer speeches and soliloquies and things like that. But some of them are. I mean, I love Sophos and his scholarly flights of fancy. And the one scene he has early on with Lilia that establishes their relationship, where they're trading references, and you can see that Lilia needs this. They need, they're both nerds. They need to vibe. So I like that Lilia, unlike a lot of romantic leads, she has this. She has an actual characteristic in that she's a reader. She's a scholar. She needs an intelligent person to talk to, or at least a learned person. Not all learned people are intelligent. And meanwhile, I don't know. I mean, like Tom said, Will is a real draw, and what a gift of a part to a clown. You need someone who can completely usurp the stage, but it's also very generously written. Will gives focus when he needs to. And Gripe ends up giving him a goose. Like the miser of the play ends up giving a whole goose away for this dude's wedding. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, not only do people talk about what they're going to do in the first half, sometimes they don't even do them, and actually in a way that was actually really pleasing, because there was one point when Robin Goodfellow was talking about a fake rape accusation at one point, and I was sort of going, I hope that never.
We can cut that.
Well, that line can entirely be cut, absolutely. But there's lots of bits like that.
Speech.
Yeah, all that bit can go completely, because, of course, it thankfully never happens. And it completely, we were saying last time, that would really ruin the mirth of this play if that is where this play's going, because we've been here before with fun pastorals, when the fun pastoral gets really, really unpleasant. And so that's one of those elements that it's like in the first half, almost nothing happens, actually. There are only about 2 scenes where sort of an actual action occurs, and same with the second half to a lesser degree. That more happens in the second half, and that's my slight worry, is the balance of the play. Does enough happen in the first half to make people come back after the interval for the action in the second? And that's always my slight worry. Because actually where we broke it is probably about right for where you'd put an interval in terms of the flow of the action, because that's the moment when Lelia has
after scene 11.
Yeah, after Lelia has been basically cast out by her father, and they're setting up the plots in the woods. That seems like the logical place to put an interval. Yeah, there's lots of. But I think these are actually in many ways minor things. They're just sitting down and giving it just a spring clean as a text, and just playing with it and just trimming it down a bit would be a nice 90-minute, I think. Any other thoughts? Otherwise, I will close the session. So, all that remains is to thank all the wonderful readers for all their wonderful reading. Thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye. Let's talk of our copulation.